Yeah. Like, I mean, similar at European Championships. Gold medal at Europeans was 281. So your score at the February Nationals last year would have got that gold medal. So it shows that, you know, the divers in this event perfectly capable. So our first divers of the 3-meter synchro are our Swedish pair with a forward dive pike. Very nicely executed.
Yeah, Amelia's toe's just a tiny bit over the board, but she saved it really well.
Yeah, I've saw Amelia training yesterday.
These were the pair that won bronze at the European Championships.
Yeah, I think I've got these scored. They got 257.7 and you guys got 257.4.
That was
so
it.
Yeah, 0.3 of a point. Not that that's something that still plays on your mind. Next up, Catherine and Yasmin. Another relatively new pairing, although they have done synchro in the past. Their training over the last year hasn't predominantly been them doing synchro. It's only recently they've revisited that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, great dive from the girls. Mentioned the 50-point mark. That's a 46.8 score there from Yasmin and Catherine. Now we have our next pair, Evie Smith and Tilly Brown from Southampton Diving Academy. Sorry, our scoreboard still saying no hurdle steps for them with a back dive pike. Not much to be said for these requires dives. These easier dives are so simple for them to perform. There's only very minor things that we can pick out. Deshawn and Scarlett, another relatively new pair. And the girls synchro on tower yesterday. That there does tend to be quite a lot of mixing up of pairs in synchro, so in the similar experience currently. Pike. So the synchro marks pretty good. Execution marks very similar for each diver too. 45.0 points. And our final divers of the first round, Callie and Maya. It's interesting, divers opting for the forward dive rather than the forward 1.5. Very nice dive from the girls. Would you prefer a forward dive or a forward 1.5?
I think I was more of a forward 1.5, because if you don't get perfect takeoffs, you might have to change it, whereas at least the front 1.5, there's a little bit more going.
The judges tend to maybe potentially give you more scores. Amy, you mentioned previously that 50 points per required, 100 points total after the first two dives is a really good aim. So they're slightly below that mark, but again, the judging has been slightly tight this weekend so far.
Yes.
Well, no, just let the dive drift slightly over from vertical in the past, but the back and reverse dive in synchro are almost the most nervy dives because you should be doing them so well.
They should be really good in the dive.
Yeah, letting those legs fly up too fast in a reverse dive is very easy, and Anna's unfortunately just seen that a little bit there. Another very nice dive.
Yeah.
Anything to critique there?
The pike shapes, I enjoyed the whole dive.
Yeah, I think like you said before, the only very minor thing, obviously being very, very harsh, is just the timing of coming out of the pike shapes. Very slightly off, but like we said, that's been... So Evie and Tilly from Dive London and Southampton, respectively. Oh, very nice.
Lovely entries. Tilly just a tiny bit back on the end, but still synchro was beautiful.
Yeah, both beautiful through the water. Always one of my favourite things to watch when someone goes through the water with very little splash, making that nice rip sound too. Obviously, on the synchro events, our first two dives are all relatively simple. They're the required dives. They're capped at a maximum degree of difficulty of 2.0. And then our last 3 dives are where the competition really heats up, where the divers can pick the rest of their dives from whatever they want. Sean and Scarlett with a reverse dive pike.
Lovely timing again.
Yeah, timing into the end of the board, pretty good. Yep, I think you are right. So, as you mentioned there, we have to fill all 5 directions. So, required dives, meaning that they can do all forward spinning dives in their optionals, which a lot of divers prefer. Are you a forward or back entry preference person?
I don't have. I'd say it used to definitely be back and reverse was my preference. Now I don't have a necessary one.
Kelly and Maya there with a reverse dive. Both could have gone through the water just a little bit cleaner, which would have seen slightly higher execution marks. But again, the synchro is very nice. They both keep the feet out, exact same spot, line up with their arms at the exact same time. So just under 2 points in front of.
Sort of what you kind of expect at the beginning of the start of the optional rounds. Fairly close.
Don't have that extra complexity of the hurdle we've seen this morning and this afternoon with the boys. Both make it pretty easy.
Yeah, just a little bit over from both of them. I've seen them both train this.
Female divers especially do a pike list is if they can get their legs up straight rather than bringing them up bent, it's a good indicator that they're capable of making this dive and doing it to a high standard and fast into that pike shape. Yeah. Yasmin and Catherine, they're going with a forward 2.5 somersaults with 1 twist. 3.0. Oh,
that was lovely.
Well, Yaz did quite well to hold on to that hurdle step there.
A little
very
bit
much
back and corner board, but
not panicking on the end of the board if you're not quite right. What's your favourite direction, would you say?
back.
Yeah. Oh, back as well,
Maybe.
really? Nice. That's I always was a bit different. I preferred spinning back and reverse. So again with an inward 2.5 pike, another standing dive, this time spinning forwards. Ooh.
Evie just landing that bit short on her takeoff. Just needs to
On this dive, there's a real trade-off between making sure your balance is good and making sure it's not too good with those feet coming past the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a quite a skill element in waiting for that board to ping you up, but also being able to get fast enough out of the board to get the spin speed.
And it just takes time to work on it.
Time and strength in those legs. Scarlett and Deshawn with forward 2.5 somersaults, 1 twist, full out. Very nicely executed.
Yeah, nice, just a little bit over from Deshawn, I think it was.
Both have.
But
There's a bit of a variation between when divers flick out from the twist. Maybe more so with boys rather than girls. I think girls do tend to squeeze into that pike shape a little bit tight. Variation on how deep into that pike shape they get.
I've found, having done it, I flick earlier than a couple of girls.
Yeah,
in Synchro.
right. Yeah, which is probably Callie and Maya with in between 2.5 somersaults pike.
Just
Bit out on the synchro
yeah,
there.
a little bit out on the synchro. Just Maya cutting it down a little bit more than Callie.
They both just unfortunately missed a little bit of timing on that start. So I was seeing the judges penalise them quite a bit on the end. But before we get on the way, we'll see our results here. Elna and Amelia are a little bit further behind the pack. They're 13 points off Yasmin and Catherine. Still in those medal positions. Both very nice dives.
Just out from that hurdle and it just sort of carried on for the rest. I think Amelia was just a little
Back in quite a few years ago now, the synchro scores used to be land flat together, but if it was together they could still get a 10 theoretically, but now the synchro judges score on an overall impression mark. So the way that the judging is done has changed up a little bit over the last couple of years. Which Yasmin and Catherine back 2.5 somersaults pike. Very nice.
That was lovely. These two are both back and reverse with them. I'm pretty sure they're pretty confident on them.
A good dive, 63 points there. Puts a bit of pressure back on Deshawn and Scarlett. We're going to see this dive in the pike position from Yasmin and Catherine in the last round too. Oh, so nearly, so nearly. Both making beautiful tuck shapes. Didn't quite get all the way around in the rotation, so just kick up a bit of splash. Yeah. So complexities in the pike position, then what do you find the differences?
I found this a lot more about trusting yourself more than, because it feels like it's going to be a more difficult dive, when actually, as long as you know you can make it, just keep the same technique and doesn't necessarily feel too much more difficult.
Sean and Scarlett forward 3.5.
Ooh,
another very accurate dive from both the girls. Scarlett pretty consistent. Sean just as consistent there as well. Very nice dive from both the girls. And Catherine. They both finish up with a 3.0. Callie and Maya now, back to our somersaults pike. There or thereabouts from both of them. Slightly different in the techniques.
Yeah, Callie.
Yeah, it's a real skill to have confidence in your strength, like you said on the reverse 2.5, to just wait for that board, let the board do the work for you almost. Sean and Scarlett have just extended their lead by a couple of points, then have 5 points ahead of. So our last round gets underway with an inward 2.5 somersaults tuck from Elna and Amelia. Seen Amelia do this pike in training too, so assuming individually she does do that, but both of them very nicely executed, make it look very easy.
Not because she can't make it, she can make it easily, just might have missed her hands through the water.
Yeah, very nice dives from the girls. Oh, 244 points, sorry, I can't read. Can both perform it how we know they can. Oh, we know she can do this dive so well. Gets that circling to her shape. It's probably one of the best board timings in the world, let alone the country. So Evie and Tilly, they're going to finish up with a forward 2.5 somersaults, 1 twist.
Oh, both lovely dives, just a tiny bit different in that flick timing, but...
Yeah, both great entries through the water. We've mentioned making sure getting that same twist timing. That's why we only see the 6.5s. So Deshawn and Scarlett got a little bit of a comfort blanket now. Yasmin and Catherine, that little drop on reverse 2.5.
Yeah.
And I think they will do both very nice dives.
Similar spin speed as well, so it's just come out at the same time and both land upright.
Yeah, good score from the girls, 282.9. So there I mentioned European champions last year, got 281, so that would just pip them. Types of judging too, so sometimes the scores can be a little bit misleading. But great score there from the girls. Their first competition together too. And finishing up today we have Callie and Maya. Yep, again, another full out. Just slightly that individually relatively steady dives. I think if they were to do them in an individual competition, they wouldn't be too disappointed. So there we have our women's 3-meter synchro event.
Yeah.
So here we see our results.